Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this evening at the Clayton County Board of Education Board Work Session. Today is August 28th. The time is 6 p.m. and I'm calling the meeting to order. First, I'm going to change the order of the agenda. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Stand. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to start by calling the roll. Starting with District 1, Ms. Jasmine Bowes.
Present.
District 2, Mr. Mark Christmas. District 3, Jesse Goree, that's me. District 4, Ms. Victoria Williams.
Present.
District 5, Dr. D. Haney. District 6, Ms. Mary Baker.
Present.
District 7, Ms. Sabrina Hill.
Present.
District 8, Ms. Joy Tellis Cooper.
Present.
District 9, Mr. Benjamin Straker.
Present.
Dr. Anthony Smith, Superintendent and CEO.
Present.
Mr. Clem Doyle, Legal Counsel.
Present.
Ms. Kim Blackwood, Board Liaison. Ms. Arlisha Battle, the Executive Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent and Board. Ms. Don Blau, the Executive Assistant to the Deputy Superintendent. All right. Now, before we get started with our meeting, I want to wish one of my board members a happy birthday. It's been a week, but Miss Sabrina Hill just celebrated her birthday, so we want to say happy birthday to her. And also, before we get started, I do want to acknowledge a couple of situations and ask that we take a moment of silent reflection for them. One being that we lost a very valued employee on Friday, Mr. Darren Williams of our Facilities and Maintenance Department. And also, we had an incident in Terrace Stadium. And I'd like for us to offer prayers for Isaiah Thomas, a student at Dutchtown. So let us take a moment for silent reflection, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. The next thing on the agenda is our ethics statement, which reads, in accordance with Board Policy BH, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of such conflicts. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of such conflict with respect to any matter scheduled to come before the board at this meeting or appearing on our proposed agenda? If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from participation in the matter involved. Okay, at this time, seeing none, we need to adopt the agenda. I need a motion for the adoption of the agenda. Ms. Hill.
So move, Madam Chair, that we accept the adoption of the agenda.
All right, I need a second, and that's Ms. Baker. All right, it's been moved and properly a second that we adopt the agenda. Please vote. Dr. Haney. That's a unanimous vote. All right. So at this time, we are going to have our recommendations from executive session, and I will turn that over to you, Dr. Smith.
Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, colleagues, and community members. I would like the board to consider for the position of Assistant Principal at North Clayton High School, Mr. Cedric Howard.
All right, board members, I need a motion for the superintendent's recommendation of Mr. Cedric Howard as the Assistant Principal at the North Clayton High School, and I will take that honor by making the motion to accept the recommendation of Mr. Cedric Howard as the assistant principal at North Clayton High School. I need a second. Ms. Williams.
I second it.
It has been moved and properly second that we accept the superintendent's recommendation of Mr. Cedric Howard as the assistant principal at the North Clayton High School. All right, it is a unanimous vote. Is Mr. Howard? I'm turning it over
Mr.
to you.
Howard, please stand and be recognized, sir.
Please note before we move on that Mr. Howard is an alumnus of the North Clayton High School. So look at that.
Thank you, board members. I would also like the board to consider for the position of assistant principal at North Clayton Middle School, Mrs. Morgan Rainwater.
All right, board members, I need a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation of Ms. Morgan Rainwater as the assistant principal at the North Clayton Middle School. And I'm going to take the pleasure of doing that because Ms. Morgan Rainwater is someone that I've known most of her life. So I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation of Ms. Morgan Rainwater as the assistant principal at the North Clayton Middle School. And I need a second, and I see Ms. Cooper.
With great pleasure, I second this. I've known Morgan too. Her and my daughter, they cheered together over at North Clayton High School. They've spent nights together, been together, hung out together. So it gives me great pleasure to second this nomination.
All right, so it's been moved and properly second that we accept the superintendent's recommendation of Ms. Morgan Rainwater as the assistant principal at the North Clayton Middle School. Please vote. It is a unanimous vote.
Ms. Rainwater, please stand and be recognized if you're in the audience. Congratulations.
Ms. Rain-
Thank you, board members. I would also like for the board to consider for the position of Director of Human Resources, Ms. Ursula Amy Reed.
Board members, I need a motion for the superintendent's recommendation of Ms. Ursula Amy Reed as the Director of Human Resources. Ms. Hill.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I ask that we accept the recommendation that Ms. Ursula Amy Reed as Director of Human Resources.
All right, and I need a second. Dr. Haney.
Madam Chair, I do second that motion.
All right, it's been moved and properly second that we accept the superintendent's recommendation of Ms. Ursula Amy Reed as the Director of Human Resources. Please vote. All right, and it is a unanimous vote.
Congratulations, Mrs. Reed. Please stand and be recognized. And congratulations.
All right, those people that just got those nice jobs, please don't leave. We would like to take a picture with you before we finish. All right, we have another recommendation from executive session. I need a motion to discuss we need a motion to approve the settlement that was discussed in executive session. Ms. Bowles.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Altria settlement as discussed in executive session.
All right, I need a second. Ms. Baker.
Second it.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we approve the settlement from Altria as discussed in executive session. So everyone needs to vote. All right, it is a unanimous vote. Thank you all very much. I think we've covered everything from executive session. At this time, we are going to step down and take a picture with our new appointees. Please notice that I have on my North Clayton colors for both schools.
I got it. I got it.
All right, we're sorry, but when it's like one of your children has a job, we just got to get out the pictures. I'm sorry. Okay, and it's raining outside too. Okay, so at this time, I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like for Dr. Delphi Young to come up and provide updates to the board from the Department of Teaching and Learning and Strategic Improvements.
That was fast.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Gary, Vice Chair Straker, members of the board, Superintendent Smith, and audience. Tonight, the Division of Teaching and Learning and Strategic Improvement is prepared to present to you several brief presentations, brief is the operative word, from members of the division and from our students and our staff. We will begin with the presentation from our Department of K-12 World Languages, followed by a presentation from the Department of Student Discipline, Prevention and Intervention, our CTAE department, and our math department. I will come back and conclude the division's presentation with a brief presentation of our 2022-2023 GMAS data. Afterward, I'll be glad to answer questions, so let's get started, and we will have our first presentation by Ms. Anna Cox and students.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Superintendent Dr. Smith, and all the board members. We're thrilled to share a little information with you about our district's recent trip to Spain. We had a group of 78 students, parents, grandparents, and CCPS faculty travel over to Spain June 3rd through the 10th. They visited Madrid, they visited Sevilla, they visited Cordoba, and on that trip they saw castles and cathedrals, mosques, synagogues, and they learned a lot about the long history of Spain and the different cultures who live there. They found some time for fun. They made food. They cruised down the Guadalquivir River in Cordoba. They were enthralled with a flamenco dance show. I think everybody had a really good time, from faculty to children to parents to grandparents. Our tour guides, I want to make this note. Our tour guides made a special point of telling me and telling the adults at how wonderful the children were. They were inquisitive, they were excited, and that did my educator's heart good. I really enjoyed hearing that. So tonight we have Kennedy Simpson and we have Jasmine Garcia to tell you a little bit about their reflections. So I'm going to turn it over to Kennedy.
Hello, my name is Kennedy Simpson. My excursion to Spain was one of the most fulfilling experiences of my life, as it was my first time traveling abroad.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Come in, pull, or either pull the mic a little bit closer to you. Yeah, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay.
Should I start over? Okay. My excursion to Spain was one of the most fulfilling experiences of my life, as it was my first time traveling abroad. For the first time, I was able to be immersed in a culture totally different from my own, and as anticipated, I learned a variety of new things about the culture there. Specifically, one of the things that specifically shocked me was how much it directly tied to my AP World class that I took in my sophomore year. For example, when we visited the mosque, I remembered how I learned about Islam and its spread to Spain. It's also hard to forget because my teacher was there. Additionally, this experience gave me a chance to gain a sense of independence I never felt traveling with my mother, and a look at what traveling might look like as an adult. I experienced paraplegia, so while some access felt difficult, like walking on hills and uneven streets, the wonderful team of chaperones assisted me every step of the way, and I made sure I had the best experience possible. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Garcia, and I'm a student at Elite Scholars. Greetings, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Superintendent Dr. Smith, and all board members. Visiting Spain was a once-in-a-life experience for me. During the 8 days I spent there, I had the chance to learn about Spain's history and its connections with the Americas. Immersing myself in the culture, the similarities and differences between Spain and the United States shocked me. The cities we toured, the landscapes we saw, and the people we met all felt like something out of a dream. There was a palpable sense of history everywhere we went, from the statues and old buildings to the roads themselves. It was like the very material of the country was steeped in centuries' worth of stories. One thing that fascinated me was the contrast between what I had learned in the classroom and what I perceived throughout the city. Christopher Columbus, for instance, is a controversial figure in many American settings today, but in Spain, he is still revered by the Spanish royalty and the Catholic Church. It was interesting to see how different perspectives shaped our understanding of history. Out of all the places we visit, Toledo was my favorite. It was a smaller town that provided a welcome break from the hustle and bustle of the larger cities. Learning about the town's mosques and synagogues was a humbling experience that has stayed with me. Understanding the timelines of religious freedoms in Europe has also given me new perspectives on how politics and economics can impact people's lives. What I appreciated most about the trip, however, was how it forced me to step outside my comfort zone and embrace the unfamiliar. Before I arrived, I promised myself I would try to make the best of my experiences, but I knew it would be challenging. I had to push myself to talk to my group mates, improve my Spanish, and try new foods. Looking back, I'm proud of myself for taking that leap. I met so many amazing people and tried so many delicious dishes. My greatest accomplishment was ordering an entire meal from the menu in Spanish. I'm sorry. Overall, Spain was so much more than an educational tour. It gave me memories, knowledge, and skills that I never would have gained on my own. I'm grateful for this opportunity and want to explore many more countries and cultures. Spain may have been only 8 days, but its impact will last much longer. Thank you.
Well, before you all leave, I'm sorry, you all, we need to get a picture with them. You all want to come down or stand here? Huh? Okay, you all get in front of us, and can you all get us? Or do we need to come? Okay, turn your name plates around. Thank you all so much. Next time, take us with you, please. Wait, hold on, one more. Oh, yes. Thank you all so much. Turn your plates back around.
Our next presentation is from our tribunal panel members and by Mr. Melvin Blocker.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Ms. Goree, Vice Chair, Mr. Straker, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith, and the Clayton County Public Schools community. My name is Melvin Block, Executive Director, Department of Discipline, Prevention, and Intervention. I want to share tonight that you have before you executive summary from student tribunal panel members to be voted upon for your review. If you have any questions, stand ready to ask.
I do. And that would be this is for the tribunal members.
Panel members, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I guess my agenda looks a little different. But your tribunal members, I noticed that a couple of your members, including yourself, are listed as tribunal members. And I feel that if you're going to be tribunal members, you should not be the hearing officer. Several of the people that are listed as tribunal members have been hearing officers, and it is very important that that person be impartial, because as it is, all of the people that are on tribunal deal with discipline every day, and I feel like students do need an impartial person. Were you going to come up and say something, Dr. Colbert? Okay.
Thank you for that question, Madam Chair. And we agree with you. As I responded earlier today, only in extreme cases of emergencies will Mr. Blocker, Dr. Ekbuna, or Dr. Flowers serve as a panel member. And those cases may be where if a tribunal member is assigned and there's an emergency where that tribunal member cannot attend, then one of the three substitute in, but they would never be a hearing officer and a tribunal member simultaneously.
Okay, but will they be a hearing officer?
There's the way our current structure is set up, they will be hearing officers.
And why wouldn't we just have a hearing officer?
Well, we have requested to hire a dedicated hearing officer. We're going through the process of locating and hiring that individual.
Okay, have we put it out? We placed it on, because I don't think I saw it
No, we
today.
haven't placed it. The request was just recently submitted based on the audit that we received, that Dr. Lee and Dr. Gaston did. One of the findings in that audit recommended a hiring of a hearing officer.
Okay. Actually, I don't understand why we would even had to go through an audit.
Right.
Because when we have a tribunal for adults, we have a hearing officer.
Yes.
And children deserve the same right as the adults do. Okay.
We agree.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you
Okay.
for the question.
Any other questions? I don't see any.
Thank you, Mr. Blocker, Dr. Colbert.
Our next presentation is from Dr. Pamela Pitts, CTAE, and following her would be our math presentation.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Ms. Goree, Vice Chair,
Hold it.
Mr.
Excuse
Straker.
me. Are these, did I miss something or what? Slides, but information.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay. This evening, we're bringing you information regarding our Summer Grow Your Own initiative for Clayton County Public Schools. We had over 130 students who participated in this summer program, ages 15 to 17 years of age. They all worked at least 6 hours a day, receiving $15 an hour. It was an excellent program with many of our students and teachers requesting to have this program back. But I'm going to turn it over to a few of our students so that you can hear what they have to say about our Summer Grow Your Own initiative.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Ms. Gorey, Vice Chair, Mr. Straker, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith, and the Clayton County Public Schools community. My name is Tony Slan, and I'm here to share my experience with this summer's Grow Your Own program. I'd like to start off by saying thank you, Clayton County Schools, for the opportunity of tutoring young minds with a future. I had the pleasure of working with many dedicated teachers and intelligent young minds. Through this experience, I've learned how impactful it is to work with those closer in age and closer in likeness. I was able to relate to the children in their academic struggles, and with that, offer alternative methods to better their learning experience. I was once in their shoes not so long ago. One time, while working as a student aide in a second grade math class, I noticed some students were having a hard time with the hundreds chart. While adding, they were struggling to see how the numbers connected. I offered the students an easier alternative by making them count the number chart vertically down to 9 instead of horizontally, as instructed by the teacher. This singular approach that worked for me helped the students understand the concept more clearly. Through this program, I learned the skills it takes to be an educator. I learned the unseen work and effort educators put in every day to create a wonderful learning experience. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, Superintendent Dr. Smith, Madam Chair and Vice Chair, also all of the members of the board and the community of Clayton County. So my name is Michaela Schultz Jackson. I go to Morrow High School. I'm a junior at the moment. And as a person before me, I will be speaking to you about the Grow Your Own tutoring program. I felt like this program was really important because in elementary school, I was one of those kids who got pulled out of classrooms because of literacy. And I feel like this program was so important because it's showing how sometimes school and education needs to be taken outside of the classroom, and students sometimes do need that extra help. And I think that's what we did over the summer. We helped a lot of kids improve and get on grade level. And like the teacher said, it was an amazing experience. It helped the kids. Us tutors, we had fun teaching the kids. We were learning along with them, singing the songs. It was just an overall great experience. And I feel like we should continue this even at a larger scale. So, thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Ms. Goro, Vice Chair, Mr. Straker, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith, and the Clayton County Public School community. My name is Mariah Gay. I am here to share my experience with the Grow Your Own summer program. I attend Morrow High School. I am in 10th grade. I participated in the Grow Your Own program at BC Haney Elementary School. My training went well. It was really fun. The trainers made sure we knew what we were doing before we went to the sites. They made sure we did group activities, like so we could work with the students. They made sure we were interacting with each other to prepare for the program and to go to the schools. We did reading and math activities. They taught us how to work with the students when they do struggle. The teachers also gave us pointers, and the site administrator gave me pointers too. My teacher I worked with was Ms. Farmer. We had first grade. She helped me also, and my site administrator was Mr. Ware. He gave me pointers to help us be successful, and he debriefed with us every day to make sure we understood the job, and if we had any questions, were we good, were we any problems with the students. After participating in this program, I have decided for my future plans, I will become a teacher. I definitely would recommend this program, and this program still exists next year. I definitely would join again. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. During my time, my name is Avery Armstead. I'm a sophomore.
Come closer to the mic.
I'm a sophomore at Martha Ellen Stillwell School of the Arts. During the summer at the Grow Your Own Tutor program, I was placed at East Clayton Elementary School, which is actually the elementary school that I went to.
Oh.
So while I was there, it felt really good to be back at the place where I left from a few years ago. And just to see all the kids there, to see where I used to be and where I am now, it's just such a great experience that I took on. And it felt really good to be like, to not be the student, but to be the person helping the student, because every day in that reading class, there was a few students who were reading well above their grade level, which was fourth grade. But there were a few students that were reading way below their grade level. And so I always asked my teacher if I could pull them aside and read with them. She would tell us to go in the hallway, because each week we would read a different book. And this one book called Winn-Dixie, because of Winn-Dixie, one of the students.
Come on back up to the mic now. Let's hear it.
One of the students, she wasn't really reading on her grade level. So every day I would go in the hallway with her or somewhere in the classroom, and I would help her read. And I was only there for about 3 weeks, so I didn't see much of a change in her. And this other student, he was also reading below his grade level. And I would try to read with him, and both of them at the same time too. And like I said, it was only 3 weeks, so I didn't really get the chance to see any growth in both of them. But the other ones from my first class and my second class, they were phenomenal readers.
Okay.
And I just want to be able to go to their teachers and say thank you for, their teachers and their parents, to say thank you for helping them to read above their grade level, because people like that, they always go far in life. And going to see those children and be with them every day to tutor them and mentor them, it was something that I never thought that I would ever do. Because I always thought, like before the Grow Your Own Tutor program, I never thought that I would want to be in a classroom teaching kids, or at least tutoring them. Because if I'm being honest, I don't really like the fact of being with other people's children, because a lot of people just can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
But with that class that I did have, it wasn't that bad. So I was able to deal with it. And it made me at least think about taking on a career in education.
Oh, okay. Don't go too far away, because I'm going to have you all come back up. Yes.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith, and the Clayton County Public Schools community. My name is Lisa McCarron. My current position is a teacher at the virtual learning program for 5th grade, but I was the acting site administrator for the summer enrichment program at Jackson Elementary School this summer. And these students did an amazing job. So I'm here to speak on their behalf, and the CTAE department for actually hiring them. It was an awesome program that allowed the high school scholars to become acquainted with the field of education, which seemed to be of great interest. The students were given the opportunity to apply, and they were selected based on the criteria set by the district application process. It is my understanding that the intent of the program is to pour into students who will hopefully obtain required training and degrees for them to come back and work in this county and district as educators. So it truly doubles as an investment in our own scholars and in the district. The student teachers were assigned to teachers during our summer enrichment program. This afforded them the opportunity to work in a real classroom setting, assisting both teachers and small groups of students. They seemed to really enjoy the overall experience, as you heard. And they also said, from the mouth of one of my very own, the pay was real good and the atmosphere was way better than working at McDonald's. So, and they are interested in coming back, and I am interested in having them.
Okay, but you're talking about coming back. When are you talking about coming back? When?
They want to come back next summer, the ones who
Okay.
are seniors.
That's all right. Well, we gonna stop with that. Can the students come back up, please? This is what I want to know, and I want a response from the superintendent. I don't know exactly where the money came from, but as I recall, I said I requested $1 million. So is the CFO sitting down there? Okay, so let me use the students that are there. Would you do this during the school year? Okay, they said they would do it during the school year. So my question, Mr. Superintendent, is why must they wait until the summer to do this when Dr. Young is about to come up, I think, and talk about our test scores? Why can't we have these children continue doing this now? We have the money to do it, and I don't understand why. I think our goal was to hire, how many students was it? 200 students. We didn't get 200 students, so that means we have money that's left over. So why can't the students that work for us this summer, not only in this department, but I think students worked in other departments, why can't they continue doing that during the school year? Dr. Smith.
Thank you for that, Madam Chair. We will certainly take that on advisement and look to see what we can do to make certain that we make this program more effective and give these wonderful students an opportunity to be before our students during the school year. We will certainly look for that opportunity. It appears to be a very successful program. I certainly appreciate hearing the feedback and experience that these wonderful students have shared. More to come.
Mr. Stryker.
I no longer have a comment. Ms. Goree asked the question that I was going to ask. I just want to say, though, Dr. Smith, I hope that you're putting a lot of effort in increasing this program.
Well, yes. I don't see, I didn't know this was going to be on the agenda. But since you put it on the agenda and you said you're going to look, I'm just going to, how about a motion here, Mr. Stryker? What you think? Huh? You the vice chair. Go on and make the motion for us to continue.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that this program continues during the school year as opposed to waiting next summer for these children to teach other children.
Well, I'm going to second that motion, Mr. Stryker. And I don't know if it's in order, but I'm going to take a personal privilege. Look at Mr. Doyle looking at me. I'm going to just take by the authority vested in me as being the chairwoman. That's what I'm going to say. I need a vote now. Can we get a vote or is this discussion, Ms. Hill? I see your light. You and Ms. Cooper. Y'all want discussion? Or
discussion.
Okay, let's have a little discussion before, because I'm ready to go on and put my vote up. Go ahead, Ms. Cooper.
Okay, this is a very good program. I just have a question for the attorney. Being that it's not on the agenda, do we need to revise? What do we need to do?
So I understand there is no voting item on this, and we traditionally haven't voted based on reports to the board.
Well, I'm gonna vote as a gesture. If I get one more vote, if I get one more vote, then it's a gesture.
And that was going to be my question. Is this an aspiration or are we committing general funds, et cetera?
We already committed funds for this. The funds were committed this year and the funds were not utilized other than this is what we utilized it for. So it was approved and therefore I feel like we need to continue. Ms. Hill.
Right, and one more comment, Ms. Goree. And I think it is of our authorization to instruct the superintendent to continue a program that is ongoing, especially in light of the fact that this is an agenda item.
Yes.
They just presented to us, and this is the action in which the board feels as though is warranted.
Yes, it could be legitimate. The question would just be, are you okay with the precedent of board members making motions after they receive reports from this point forward? that the main issue would be one of precedent. Yes, sir.
It's not something that we want to make as a habit, but we do have the right to do that.
Ms. Hill.
Yes, Madam Chair, I just wanted to comment. I do think this is an amazing opportunity for our young scholars, and they've done a phenomenal job, and their testament was what I know that they are capable of doing and how peer teaching actually works. In this particular instance, I would yield to our CFO and our superintendent to ensure that we are not over obligating ourselves if we are not able to meet that financial obligation. So I would just yield to our CFO and to ensure that we have the money.
Ms. Bowles.
Thank you, scholars, and our incredible team for this update. I am impressed and excited and can't wait to see this happen again next year. While I strongly support all hands on deck during the school year, I recognize that you are scholars first, yourselves. And so my question in this regard is about the differences between summer program and school year programming. They should look different to accommodate our learners. I'm also concerned about how we're going to make sure that their class schedules are their first priorities and any other subsequent efforts is just supplemental. At the same time, I want our scholars to enjoy the full breadth of school year access. That includes extracurriculars and all these other things. So I am not inclined to just immediately say that this should roll over to the school year without a little more discussion and a little more conceptual understanding of what these scholars' school day is going to look like. Again, I'm very proud of you. I'm impressed by you, and I can't wait to see this grow. I still want to make sure that you get to worry about yourself as a scholar first, despite how big your hearts are to help everybody else. So thank you.
Mr. Christmas, did you have a comment?
I did. Thank you, Madam Chair. Love the program, love all that they did. I understand that there was money allocated, how much money was spent and how much is left. I mean, if we're gonna do things, let's do it in order. Let's at least give our financial team some help, because we've already approved our budget, so we don't want to continue to add line items to our budget. But if there's money left in the pot to do so, I think that would be conducive, but I would not just arbitrarily throw $1 million at it just because we're Clayton County students. I appreciate all that they do and all that they did, but we still have to be fiscal responsible with our finances. And so I think we might need to take a step back and look at what we're really doing. And if it works, then I'm for it. But if it does not, I don't want to bankrupt the district. Thank you.
Ms. Williams.
I know over the years, I brought this up before about having the CTAE program. They're not necessarily these students, but the students that already work for us for work-based learning. They have an opportunity to work. They work outside at Roses and City Trends.
Right.
They can come back and work with at the school. Even Clayton State has people they can use to come into the schools to help with our reading program. And I brought this up before, and I think this is something that we need to do. It don't necessarily mean you have to hire everybody, but we already have students that's working outside, and they be having, I'm gonna say, like no nonsense classes. Like when my son was a senior, he only had one real class, then he had a bunch of classes that he didn't ask for, or they'll be sitting in the office, or they'll be sitting in the counsel's office doing nothing, twirling their thumbs, when they could be getting paid to help bring up the lower learners.
Currently, we have over $200 million in our fund balance. That means that's money that we have available right now. I had $1 million set aside for this program this summer. I know that we have not spent $1 million because number one, we hired less than 100 students. The goal was to hire 200 students. We have work-based learning that happens every day. Students leave school and work at jobs every day. So we're not asking these students to take away from their their lessons on a daily basis. We're asking that we continue the program and allow the students to work during whenever. It doesn't have to be during the school day. It could be after school. We have after-school programs in all of our elementary schools, and these students could go to the after-school program and earn a living. So we have a motion on, I'm gonna let Mr. Straker, and we still have a motion on the floor. We've had discussion. So if you all can vote one way or the other. And yes, Mr. Straker.
Really quickly, first of all, Ms. Goree, thank you so much for allowing the discussion. That's extremely important. And I think that we've heard from everybody that wanted to make a comment. Second thing, two things. Number one, I love your comment about them working here as opposed to McDonald's. Whether they're students here, them being students here is not going to determine whether working here is going to interfere with their work versus working at McDonald's. They're going to do it anyway. I'm sure you will be working this winter. So if we can make it possible for you to work for us and invest in our children, that's where my heart is going to go. Number two, and Ms. Vivens, I'm going to need some help from you later on this one. I'm seeing that we only hired 170. Was that the number?
No.
How much was the number? 130. Wow. I'm going to stick at my 170. All right. I'm looking at 170, which means that we were 30 short, $15 an hour, 4 days a week. I'm coming up with less than $100,000 as an investment. If we don't have $100,000 to invest in our children who are working and our children who are learning how to become proficient in reading, we're wasting a lot of time sitting up here.
Right. All right. So we've had discussion. Can we vote? Ms. Hill. All right, we have 5 members in favor. We have 4 abstentions. It passes.
Madam Chair, can I?
Oh, yeah, you can.
Madam Chair, can I state my
Yes.
extension? Just for the record, it's not that I'm against this program. I think it's a really good program, but I think it's some very good questions that came up during the discussion, which was, and I think we didn't give Ms. Bivens a chance to get up and talk to us about, do we have the money? What are we looking like? But again, this is a very good program. I know it's gonna work. So congratulations, but I extend.
Does anyone else want to give their?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Just relifting that I support y'all and this program. I just think part of my abstention tonight is tied to the fact that this is a little premature, in my opinion, and just want to see a little more information about how this will be laid out throughout the year. Really proud of the work you're doing and can't wait to continue to support you moving forward.
All right. Ms. Hill.
Yes, Madam Chair, and I also share in the sentiments that I think this is an excellent program, phenomenal. Again, as I indicated, I believe in peer teaching. It's something that I experienced when I was in 6th grade. I did the same thing. I think it is wise for us to invest in our students. I also feel that it's wise as board members that we are fiscally responsible. And I just would like the opportunity to ensure that we can continue this program. I know that the summer was the beginning of the implementation. It went very well, but also to allow our staff and our CTAE to really critique it and hone it to ensure that it is effective and is sustainable. So I just want to say thank you again. I admire you. You guys are amazing, and keep up the good work.
Ms. Baker.
Okay. I think what you did is excellent. There is no greater thing than helping a child. I'll just say that. I have watched while the central office has added interns that happen to be students, nothing wrong with that. But I think the central office could use a few less interns and put those with children who need help reading. So I understand budget, and God knows I'm probably one of the most conservative when it comes to budget, but this is worth it. These students need to be helping our students instead of helping people in this office. And that's my opinion.
Dr. Haney.
Well, I'm all about the CTAE, as you know, and I'm really appreciative of that. And also looking at 200 vacancies that we already have of teachers, I think this would help support, not saying that they're fully credited in all this, but they have the credentials and all, but it would help subside some of this. And based on what Dr. Young taught me the other day about these test scores, that would help tremendously, especially in the pockets where we're low in our scores. And so just listening to the testaments of these students and what they've encountered, and also what they can also add to their fellow peers, because I know it's just not at the elementary level that we're having challenges, but I'm sure with their own peers. And so I think this would be great. I commend Dr. Pitts and her team for doing this, for allowing us to have these students in our school. At least we can talk about something else that we are doing positive in our schools, that our students are being utilized outside of curriculums, band and all that, but to actually have something sustainable within our district. So I commend that, and I understand what my colleagues are saying about it may be premature, but at any rate, when there is a need, when we need teachers' vacancies, and we're pushing that through, how accurate are we when we get the repercussions of what they're not doing when they get in the classroom? And so we have to look at all spectrums of that and look at that. And like Miss, our CFO, as I'm looking at her, we do have those funds, but I understand that we have to make sure that we are, Mary said, be very conservative with that. But however, when we have our resources already, why we keep delaying? Because it's going to be conversation after conversation. And this was brought up when Dr. Beasley was here. So at this point, we're still at this point again. So again, I just commend you. Thank you, Dr. Pitts, CTAE team. I'm all about it. So let's just keep it up. Thank you.
I think everybody has had 2 times to speak on this. So I'm going to stop the debate. I'm going to say I think this is my 2nd time. I'm going to say this one more time. $1 million was what we set aside. I know we didn't spend $1 million, and I know that we as a board are about to hire 3 interns to work for us, and we have money set aside for it, so I'm pretty sure that we have it. Thank you all so much. Can you all, we want to take a picture with you, so if you'll come up and stand with us, please. Thank you. All right, you are ready? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pitts and team. Great
Hold on.
job.
Ms. Bowles, I still see your light. Is there something else? Did you want to say
Yes,
something?
ma'am. I had 2 questions, procedural questions. My first procedural question is, are we allowed to now substantiate yes votes in addition to abstentions? That's my first question.
Say your question again.
According to our normal protocol, after a vote, we only explain if it's an abstention.
Yes.
And so I'd love to know if now we can explain yeses and abstentions, or any vote. You can have conversation after.
We don't need to explain yeses.
Okay. We did tonight, and I was just only clarifying that. And then my second question is, do we want to, I think to Attorney Doyle's question earlier, how comfortable are you or other colleagues with introducing new votes after a formal presentation, similar to how we did tonight? Is this a precedent that we are welcoming moving forward?
The presentations that are given tonight are actually, we will vote on them at our next meeting.
Which is how I expected it and how we usually do it. It's just tonight so this is a genuine, innocent, clarifying question. If this is the precedent that we'd like to set moving forward, as you've demonstrated this evening for work sessions.
not setting a precedent. I think that it seems to be, everyone seems to think that you can't vote at a work session. We've already voted. We voted for, if that were the case, we couldn't have appointed anyone. That's just an assumption that we make, that you don't vote at this meeting.
No, ma'am, no assumptions. That's why I'm asking. So my clarifying question is this a norm setting forward that you're comfortable with moving forward?
I am comfortable. This has nothing to do with a norm. I'm comfortable with making this vote tonight and making a motion. And it could have been voted up or down.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe that Dr. Smith is actually going to do the program anyway. Maybe it was more for the board to show that we support it.
No, ma'am, this is incredibly exciting. So this
Right.
is not about this event. This is an exciting initiative that I'm excited to support. But you said your answer to that was you're comfortable with this vote tonight.
Yes, I'm comfortable.
And we all are, because we're moving forward. I'm asking about moving forward for our clarification as colleagues, if this is how we're okay in work sessions.
Ms. Bowles, I think I don't understand. I've said yes, I'm comfortable with this, with the motion and the vote. That's what I'm comfortable with. When we have a work session, what we do is our staff comes up, we go with different departments. It's the work session, we get information, and then we vote under the consent agenda at the business meeting. That's the only explanation I can give you.
Okay, I look forward to learning more. Again, this is genuine curiosity, and no offense to this project or assignment. It's just protocol stipulates generally that the board gets to see things that we vote and decide on as a group in advance of that moment. And so without that opportunity tonight, I just wanted to know if that's okay moving forward, if your other colleagues have great ideas during a board meeting moving forward and want to call a vote.
What you mentioned information. The information is here. And the information is here.
Not for the year-long program, Madam Chair, that we just voted on.
All I asked for was for us to continue it through the year as opposed to us waiting until next summer. Because it's something that we need. So.
Sorry, I think you're confusing my questions, and we can talk about this offline. I'm
Yes.
not curious about this program. I'm asking about other things moving forward in work sessions for parliamentary procedure.
If we have anything that's in our work sessions going forth that need a vote, we will vote. Anything that's on the agenda, things that are on the agenda, not just something we pull out of the air. This is on the agenda. I'm gonna call for the question. That means we're moving on.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your support. I want to share with you, we are going to continue our program. Very soon, you'll hear something from me that has been presented and worked on with the team and Dr. Valia Lee. It's called our AIR program, Action and Response. And this is where we're going to be working with our students outside of the school day to support those students who need additional support. And now student workers will have the opportunity to serve as tutors and mentors for those students in elementary, middle, and high school. And so you'll hear more information about that. We also have our Campus Kids program throughout the school district, and we have opportunities for our student workers to work in that program as well. And then you're going to hear from Dr. Clark and Ms. Neely about our math students who are also workers. And so, yes, we are continuing the program. And so I was just waiting to come up to share that with you. So without further ado, let's hear from our math department. And we have a very special guest. He's about, how tall? About this tall, and we'll get a stool for him to stand to make his presentation. And we have other students who will be presenting about what they did this summer and working in our math program, and we'll have our math update.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Superintendent Dr. Smith, board members, and our Clayton community. Dr. Clark and I will share with you mathematics updates for the 2022-23 school year. The mathematics department envisions that all students will develop a body of knowledge that allows them to think, reason, and analyze to solve the world's problems and justify conclusions.
As part of our vision, the mathematics department is intentional about creating experiences that provide opportunities for students to develop critical thinking skills outside of the classroom as well as inside. We would like to introduce you to two of our students who will share a couple of their experiences with the math department from this past year. One of them is Wayne Clark III, who is a first grader at Kemp Primary. And then we have Miss Kari Holston, who is a student at Stillwell School of the Arts.
Hi, my name is Wayne Clark. And I am in first grade.
What'd you do? What'd you do? What'd you do? Origami Galaxy.
And I made an origami galaxy. And I won third place.
I'll take any questions. I'll take any questions. I'll take any questions.
No.
He'll take any questions. No questions? Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Smith, members of the board, and Clayton County community. I am Kari Holston. I'm a junior at Martha Ellen Stillwell School of the Arts as a theater major. The Math Literacy Internship Program really helped me grow my leadership skills, my love for teaching, and also my own math skills. Even though I was teaching middle schoolers, I found myself learning a more engaging way of math. When I first signed up, I knew math wasn't my strongest suit, but I was willing to learn. We taught them a game called Flagway, where you had to factor a number and use the prime factorization to win the game. With this program, I'm hoping to increase my communication skills and also my own confidence in math, and to form collaborations throughout my educational journey. Thank you.
So in the math department, we have a few competitions. One of those is a math art design competition. And so the Origami Galaxy was the K2 entry into that math art design competition. And then we also have our math literacy worker program that we started in 2019 as modeled after the Young People's Projects model that they have. And Kari was a part of that this summer, but we do have that runs during the year as well as during the summer.
Okay.
So we thank them both for supporting us, and they're going to stay just in case there's any questions at the end.
All right, Ms. Baker.
I just want to say thank you. And I saw that young man carrying that thing in by himself, and it's almost as big as he is. So you must be a strong young man too, besides very bright. So thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for what you're doing to help our other students.
Mr. Straker.
Yeah, this is an actual question for Dr. Smith. I've been on the board for since 2015. Being honest with you, this is one of the most exciting board meetings that I've experienced since 2015. The reason why is because I'm noticing that children are coming up to the podium now and helping with the presentations, which is truly helping me to make decisions a lot quicker and a lot more concise. Is there something that's going on? Is there a trend going on with your staff bringing up children to be involved in the board meetings?
Well, thank you, Mr. Straker, for noticing, but as we move forward relative to prioritization and highlights, it'll be about students.
And also, Dr. Smith, when we went to GSBA this summer, that the workshop with the superintendent and board relations, that was what they talked about, is being more child-centered and child-focused. And that is definitely what we want to move toward, because mainly when we come in and have these meetings, all we hear from is staff. And if we're working for children, then we need to understand what is actually happening with our children. And it's great to get it from their perspective. And I'm very proud of everyone this evening, especially the students that were given the opportunity to work as tutors, to work as, you know, interns, wherever they worked at this summer. I think we gave them a great opportunity to see a real life skill and see what they did, what the whole purpose of being educated. And even more so than that, giving back to the community. Because the other thing that I actually would like for us to do, and I won't make a motion for that this evening, I won't bring it up, but I truly believe that students, a requirement for graduation should be service. Should be, when my daughter graduated from Atlanta Public Schools, they were required to have 75 hours of community service. And I think that we all should learn about serving. So, is it?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions from the executive session?
Are any other questions? Okay, well, we still want to get another picture, so we need to, Mr. White said we keep moving it, and we need that little stool.
Let's give our students and staff members another round of applause, please. I think that's part of the best part of my job, is to really see all of the hard work that our teachers put into our students, our parents put into our students, our grandparents, our community members put into our students. and just to see our students give back. It's just such a wonderful experience to see that in action. So again, thank you to the larger community for your support and for allowing your students and children to work in the programs to support other students. As I said before, we look forward to continuing these types of activities with our students. And so now I am here to share with you the outcomes, the official outcome of the 22-23 Georgia Milestones. You have that information in your executive summary, as well as links to those documents. And you have me available to you if you would like to have a one-on-one conversation or a one-to-few with me about the Georgia Milestones. And I'm glad to do that. Just feel free to arrange that with Ms. Blackwood. Thank you. So just to remind everyone, it's been a minute. When you think about the Georgia Milestones, it is an assessment that evaluates students based on what they have been taught. For example, if you take the 4th grade math test, it's going to assess the 4th grade math standards. Not all the standards, but a subset of those standards that are needed for students to be successful in future math classes, as well as for readiness for college and careers. And the same thing will happen for language arts, science, and social studies in certain grade levels. When the students receive their scores, they have information that tell us what the student score is in general terms, like if that student is a beginning learner. If you look at my graphic there, you think about that in a bull's eye. When you want the game is to get into the center, is that correct? Is to hit the bull's eye. But when we look at our beginners learners, they are not there yet. And the state has given us the descriptor that you see there. Now pay attention to the graphics there to help you understand. And so we weren't even hitting the target itself. Now take a look, we're hitting the board, the target board, but we're not getting to that center point where we want to be. And so that is our developing learners. Those students have demonstrated partial proficiency. They have their skills and knowledge of that grade level, but not quite enough, all right? And these students need support, a little less support than our beginning learners who would need intensive support. Then we have our proficient learners. We're getting right there, that center. We're doing a great job. And those are the students who have shown proficiency in the grade level standards and skills and knowledge. And they are ready for the next grade level or the next content course. And then if you look at that, you got to be really good to be able to shoot and split the arrow. And that is our distinguished learner. And so this is how the state describes our learners. And so when you looked at your data, you saw something that said in the Excel spreadsheets, now not in your executive summary, but in your Excel spreadsheet, you have things such as BL, beginning learner, DL, developing learner, PL, proficient learner, and DSL, distinguished learner. And when we talk about our students passing the test, we actually are combining two levels of learners, proficient and distinguished. And that gives us the percent of students who pass the test. And so I'm going to now show you a few slides, not a lot, it's a few slides that talk about our students who actually pass the Georgia Milestone Assessment. Again, that is a combination of our proficient learners and our distinguished learners. Okay, so here we are for our Georgia Milestones, and this is looking at it from the various grade levels. This is a totality or an aggregate information. You have in your Excel spreadsheet the data broken down by grade level. And so for language arts, you can see the percentage of our students who are proficient, and that is in green, and that is true for all of our model there for the green. And then what's in red are those students who is identified as not proficient, and that is the combination of beginning learners and developing learners. Our proficient means our proficient and distinguished learners. And so just to make sure you understand how those numbers are determined. And so that represents our grades through 3 through 8. That's our elementary and middle school. K1 and 2 do not take the Georgia Milestone end of grade assessment. And also note that we only have science in grades 5 and 8, and grade 8 for social studies, and that's our Georgia history course there, okay? And then we have our comparison from the previous year to the current year, and you can see how we have shown improvement in all of the content areas presented there. And a point change is just the difference between the current data from the previous data. For example, the difference between 22 and 19, and that's 3 points. And some people like to see the data presented as improvement by percentages. And so I provided that information is there. And it's just a calculation of that 3 divided by 19 times 100%. And so you can see we showed a 15.8% improvement. That's a percent improvement, which some people like to see, and others like to see the point change. And so I wanted to share both of them with the public, because each public member may have a different way of looking at data. And so you can see the aggregate information there. But if you look at your Excel spreadsheet, you see it all there by the individual test and grade levels. And so here are some highlights we want to share with you about the performance from last year, and they are given there. We are very proud of the outperformance as shown by Clayton County Public School students in all of the grade levels in language arts, all of the grade levels in math, in grade 5 science, and in grade 8 social studies, where we surpassed the state in the improvement, that is the number of points. We had a change from the previous year, 2022 to 2023. And so those are the information there for highlights. Again, please look at your Excel spreadsheet. And then of course, we have to honor and recognize our schools that have shown improvement. And so you can see all of the schools and by content area that have shown improvement from the past tests. And so we're so proud of these schools. And at the end, please just make sure we give them a round of applause. And if you see the principals and school staff and assistant principals of these schools, please give them a shout out and say, thank you for doing a good job. Thank you. And now let's take a look at the end of course. This is our high school courses. And now beginning this year, our high school end of course weight, that grade weight, is now going to be 10%. And I wanted to say that out loud so parents can know, instead of being 20% of the student's final grade, it is now going to become 10%. You voted on that last month. Similarly to the end of course assessment, this is a assessment based on the standards that are taught, and it's just called the end of course because you take this test when you complete the course. And so because we have semesters and we have block schedule and traditional schedule, some students take this course in December, take this test in December when they finish the course. Some students take the test in April, May when they finish the course. And so here is the year-long performance of our students on the American Lit, Algebra 1, Biology, and U.S. History end of course exam. And now to look at that data similarly from what we saw in the past. In the previous slide, we have a point change in American Lit of all the assessments that our students took during the 22-23 school year. We only saw declines in American Lit, and we saw inclines on all of the other content areas. And so that's just what you have, point change and the improvement, percent improvement change for those who like to see it that way. And then finally, we have our highlights for our students for the end of course data. Again, we can see where CCPS outperformed the state in pass rate, of course, in Algebra 1, Biology, and U.S. History. And again, if you look at your Excel spreadsheet, follow the tabs, you will see all of this information presented to you. And similarly, we have our schools that have shown increases on the assessment from the previous year to 2023. The schools here are listed, and please give those staff members their congratulations if you see them. Thank you. And then lastly, we have our performance for reading across all of the grade levels. And so these are it by the individual assessments. And this is identified based on their Lexile scores. And I will send an update with information about what Lexiles are. But overall, it tells us based on the GMAS, there are other assessments that can do this, but based on the Georgia Milestone, it tells us those students who are reading at grade level or above grade level or below grade level based on the Georgia Milestone. And so that's the information there. And then lastly, we have our highlights for our reading performance listed here. Again, we had our RESA comparing the state growth. We surpassed those in grades 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And for our parents and even for our board members, we have access to a camera and a cell smartphone. You're welcome to take pictures of our QR code that will take you to various websites for you to get additional information. And this information is public information. And so I really want to make sure that the public know that they have the opportunity to also access the same data that we have. And then, are there questions?
Are there any questions, board members? Ms. Baker?
I think it's safe to say we're not where we want to be,
Absolutely.
but I want to say that to see these kind of increases after a year and a half off of COVID, where we did not have kids in school, I think some of these increases are incredible. Again, keep up the good work. Thank you to the teachers who are doing this work. And any helpers we can get to help the kids are even better. Thank you very much.
And I'm glad you said that, Ms. Baker. When you open up this Excel spreadsheet and you look at the scores by individual schools, you're going to see schools that had 11-point improvement, 15-point improvement. And so we had a lot of schools that showed significant improvement. And so our goal for the 23-24 school year, which is this year, is 8 points, 8. The number after 7 is 8, okay? 8 points. That's our goal. And we're putting structures in place to make sure that we reach our goals. And those structures include even our student workers, me, and everybody else in Clayton County Public Schools working to help ensure that we meet our goals. And when we meet our 8 points by the end of this school year, we will catch up from the previous 2019 and surpass the 2019 performance. And so I'm very excited. I know we can do it. I saw that many schools can and others will. So I'm excited.
Ms. Hill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to share the sentiments of my colleague that I too I'm excited with you. And I want to commend our scholars and our parents for the progress that we have made, which again is significant. And just take a moment to celebrate this time, because I know that we are headed into a great school year. And I'm looking forward to seeing the results and our 8 points and even exceeding that. So I just want to say thank you to staff, colleagues, and our parents and our scholars especially, because that is tremendous growth for, as my colleague indicated, coming off of a pandemic and virtual learning.
Thank you.
Dr. Haney?
Really quick, Dr. Young, I just want to say thank you to you for the discussion that we had the other day, and for you to be able to articulate and simplify for me on how to understand the acronyms for one, and then to how to understand the logistics of the educational piece of it, and to know that the magic number will be 8. So I will be looking for 8 to be going
That's
up.
right.
And so, like my colleague said, I'm very excited, and to know that we are working with those schools that need to bring those scores up a little bit more. Let's be realistic. I'm looking forward to great strides with that. I also was As we were in executive session, I was supposed to be paying attention, but I was looking at the charts that were on the wall. So I was like, I know what that means now. I know what that means. So that was great to keep that up. And so I just want to commend you and your team for what you're doing. So I'm looking for the magic number being 8 to be great. All right.
That's right. 8 to be great. I like that. I'm still that, okay?
Miss Cooper.
Hey, Dr. Young, I wasn't going to say anything, but you were just smiling. First of all, I love the passion that you have behind this, and you can tell that you're very passionate about getting the students to where they need to be and the staff. So again, I want to thank you for being so thorough and starting from, I told you to lay it out to me like you're talking to a kindergartner. So when I say you went through the whole process and you made sure that I understood what it looked like, what it should look like, where our growth was, where we do need to work on a few things, even within our different groups and genders. So I do appreciate that. I do want to thank the teachers because they're doing an outstanding job too with the kids. So just keep up the good work. We're headed in the right direction, and I'm just going to be proud to see where we're at next year.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments? You know what my comment will be. When will we be buying Orton Gillingham?
I'm glad you asked. Thank you for asking that. Thank you. Our K-5 language arts coordinator and the coordinators across the state of Georgia are having a meeting with the Georgia Department of Education to help us with the science of reading, which that program does support. And I can hardly wait. I think they'll be meeting in the next 2 weeks, and I will send you an email on that information.
All right, you're doing a good job, and everybody seems to be moving in the right direction. I really like the focus and looking forward to seeing 8 square next time.
Okay, thank you.
I want 8 square.
Okay. 64, that's 64, in case anybody want to know what 8 square is.
Yes, okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Smith, is it? All right.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, board members, Superintendent Dr. Smith, colleagues, and community members. You have received the executive summary regarding school safety stats. There are, however, 3 primary areas I would like to discuss this evening. 2 of the areas which are noticeable reductions in trends since the beginning of school year, this school year. What I do want to point out is at the beginning of 2021, 2022, that particular school year, we had nearly 100 weapons on school grounds. Last year, we reduced that number to 59 weapons on school grounds. And this particular year, what I want to do is I want to compare the month of August of this year to the month of August of last year, which means basically we had a decrease of 40% because last year we had 5 weapons on school grounds for the month of August, and thus far this year, we've only had 3. So we're trending in the right direction there. Also, what I wanted to point out is a decrease in altercations and fights on school grounds, which is led by law enforcement, or which we intervene. And that number has decreased from 53 last year for August of 2022 to 30 this year, which is a decrease of 43%. The last particular part, I want my commander or our commander of safety and security, which is our criminal investigations division, to discuss 2 primary major incidents that occurred on school grounds, and just to bring you up to speed of what's going on with those incidents. Major Mitchell.
Hey, good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, all members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Anthony Smith, all colleagues and community members. My name is Major Ernest Mitchell. I am the Commander of Administrative Operations and Criminal Investigations here for Clayton County School Police Department. Just want to provide an update for 2 notable incidents. The first being on July 17th, during the late evening hours, our school police investigators responded to the front entrance driveway of Lovejoy High School as a result of a vehicle chase that initiated in Fayette County. It was a result of a kidnapping that took place. Ultimately, at the end of that chase, which again did end at the driveway of Lovejoy High School, one of our former students was shot, and she passed and succumbed to her injuries. The offender, who was not related to the school district, a 20-year-old male out of Albany, Georgia, was placed under arrest. We responded alongside of our Clayton County Police, Clayton County Sheriff Law Enforcement Partners, as well as Fayette County Sheriff's Office and Fayette County Police Department. So again, that subject was taken into custody and court proceedings are pending. Most recently, on August 18th of this month, 2023, our school police investigators and school police officers responded to the parking lot in far end of Terra Stadium at the conclusion of a football game as a result of reported shots fired. Upon arrival of our school police officers, there was one male victim who was determined to be a current Henry County student, 18-year-old male student. He was transported to the hospital where he sustained life-altering injuries with those gunshot wounds. The offender in that particular case, we've been able to identify a current alternative high student. We're currently identified him and we're currently looking for him. We've also solicited the assistance of our local law enforcement partners as well. There has been a judge signed pickup order from juvenile court for his apprehension. And so we've solicited the assistance of our, again, local partners in order to try to apprehend him, which is the equivalent of an arrest warrant for an adult. So that is still an active pending case with further investigation to come. And as of right now, again, we're just seeking apprehension of that subject alongside our local law enforcement partners. Any questions?
Are there any questions? Dr. Haney?
Thank you for that, Major Mitchell, for the report. And maybe Mr. Townsend can add this as well. At Terra Stadium, at the top, at the top, we're at the bottom, they're at the top. Is there sufficient lighting at the stadium? Because when it's dark, and then for the incidents to occur while we're at the game at the top, then another thing is how many officers are up at the top opposed to the bottom? Because I see more at the bottom, if anything, trying to manage that crowd. But how many are up at the top? And then with Mr. Townsend, in conjunction with you all, is there sufficient lighting up at the top at Terra?
Good evening. We are working on that issue right now. We did move the game. We have a Jonesboro Dutchtown game. We've moved that to 12 Oaks, in which I've ordered 8 light towers, and we're going to start doing the same thing at all of our stadiums that do not have sufficient lighting, in which we place strategically around the parking lot so it lights up the entire parking lot better than it is now.
Okay, that's what I was concerned with. Okay, that's what I needed. Thank you, Mr. Townsend. And then I had a question for Chief.
Let me
go ahead.
emphasize the fact that we do have lighting.
Yes,
and it's considered to be proper, but we want to have enhanced lighting.
Right.
So I don't want it to make it seem like we are going from nothing to.
Oh, yeah, and I wasn't implying that. I just said that we just need sufficient, because it's dark up there. And I know I know how many we have walking and running up there, but it's just not enough based on what we're incurring with these incidents. That's what I'm saying. Nothing to push off that we don't have. Let me make that clear. We do have, but just enough where we can just kind of curbside all this, what we're incurring. Now, the question to the chief, you said you went down
And
to 100.
Madam Chair, can I say real quick, just that
Okay.
in terms of defending future claims, we're not making any admissions whatsoever. And I would just say, let's be cautious about the conversation we have, and we can, have those conversations at the right time and place. Thank you.
Okay.
Duly noted. Again, my question to the chief, we went down, you said from 100 to 59. How are these weapons, are they in the school? Are they getting into school and we have all these metal detectors? I mean, how is that happening?
The majority of the weapons we located, when we were nearly at 100, we did not have the weapon detection devices.
Okay.
Last year, we did have the weapon detection devices, and that's when the numbers went down. However, more than 80% of those weapons never made it into the school.
Okay.
A lot of those weapons was located in the parking lot and on school grounds. A lot of those weapons were not in the schools. And then you have to take account for the other weapons that are considered weapon by law that are not necessarily real weapons, such as toy guns and other things similar to that right there, which is by law considered weapons. And a lot of those were of the toy variety.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, maybe we should say that in a report, emphasize toy guns or whatever, which are considered weapons by law. Ms. Baker?
I sent in an email, but our communication department has done a great job doing a PSA. And I was wondering if there was any way we could have some kind of screen out front while people are waiting in line so they can see that says clear, because it says clear bags and this and that, and what we expect of them. And I would really like, if at all possible, to have that showing outside while people are coming in versus waiting for them to get in the door and then giving it to them. We shouldn't have to tell you to play nice in the sandbox, but apparently we do. So the sooner we can give them that message before they walk in, the better, I would think.
Yes, ma'am. I like that idea. Normally they do that at professional sporting events, so that sounds like a really good idea.
But I think the public should know that the equipment that we use is the same equipment that's used at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and other places, and it will pick up. You don't have to be right up on it. I mean, wherever the metal detector is, your machine can pick it up as soon as they get near it. But coming off of the whole weapons issue, I know that at some of the other schools, they had similar issues. I would like to see where we are as far as having our students all have ID cards and have our students, for example, I was on the corner of Garden Walk and Drew Stadium at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night with at least 10 students waiting for rides to go home. None of those students were Clayton County students. I mean, none of them attended North Clayton or Riverdale. They were from all over. Some were from Atlanta Public Schools, some were from Henry County. So I really feel like we should be looking at, as some of the other school districts are, in using ID cards, all of our students having those. And if you don't belong to our district, you are accompanied by an adult. So we don't have people coming into the game that don't belong there in the first place.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for that. We are engaging with a solution that not only allows for the students to have an ID, but it is interactive with their daily school lives relative to lunch, media center usage, etc.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Dr. Haney.
I had a question that wasn't answered. I was asking how many officers are at the top how many officers are at a game? Let's just put it like that.
Between security officers and our school resource officer, we average between 18 to 22 officers a game. And that's, I can tell you this, that's kind of more than what any of the surrounding agencies or counties are having at their sporting events. At the top, normally we try to have two there because they're assisting with trying to get the traffic out of the stadium.
In addition to the municipalities and sheriff's office and Clayton County Police Department that routinely supplement our numbers.
Mm-hmm. They're actually, exactly, they supplement our numbers, or they're more. Our department, depending on the number of games we have on a weekly basis, we average between 18 and 22. And of course, with the sheriff's department and the police department assisting us, then that number is higher.
Well, I'll conclude by saying I want to just thank everyone for the safety and security that you all provide for us. I'd also like to thank, because I feel as if this is also safety, and that we have been issuing heat advisories on a daily basis. And I feel like I hope somebody from the Georgia High School Association is listening, but you all should have canceled all of those games on Friday if they really felt like safety was important, because there were triple-digit degrees. And to have children out on the field, not canceling games, I just don't know what those people were thinking about. So I want to thank our coaches. I want to thank our band directors, our student athletes, our band students, anybody that was involved with playing sports these past couple of weekends. Thank you all for your dedication and coming out to perform for the school district. I don't see any other questions. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
And Major Mitchell. Update from our construction department.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith. You received the Georgia DOE capital outlay application along with the project start date letters. For fiscal year 2025, the Georgia DOE will provide $11.9 million for capital project improvements. The recommendation from the superintendent is that the DOE, the Board of Education, approve the application. Are there any questions?
I don't see any. Thank you for the report.
Ms. Ramona Bibbins from our Business Service Department.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith, colleagues, and citizens. We have this evening the financial report for the month of July. As of July 31st, 2023, we have collected a total of $658,928 in revenue. That's 0.1% of our budgeted revenues. Under local taxes, we collected $228,313. Other local revenues, $72,258, and our QBE money of $357, I'm sorry. Our total expenditures for the month were $10,658,397, and that is 1.7% of our budgeted expenditures of $634.9 million. I'll be happy to entertain any questions regarding the financial report.
Are there any questions regarding the financial report? Seeing none.
Thank you. So next on the agenda, we have the annual audit report, which you all should have received the big bound copy of that. We don't have a presentation or anything, but we do need to get the board to accept it as presented. The young lady from the state came at the last work session, I believe, and presented a training session, I guess, so to speak, on us on being on the list with the state. So she pretty much talked about all the findings and everything that night. So we really don't have anything else to present other than that. So I'll be happy to entertain any questions that you may have about that audit, if you have any.
One thing that we need, for this audit, are you?
The 2021 audit.
The one.
The one that we just finished.
Okay, Dr. Haney, go ahead.
It's just real simple. Are we on track now?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're in the process. We're trying to get there. As I stated that night, that was the 2021 audit. We're in the process of getting 2022 completed. We just met with the auditor last week. She needed some more information, so we have provided her with those items. So again, hopefully we'll get that one done by late fall, and then we start 2023, and I would like to have that one done by late spring, and then we'll be caught up.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Ms. Cooper.
Ms. Bivens, I think you said, did I misunderstand you? You said we have a binded report?
The report was sent to you all by Ms. Billingsley.
I'm sorry?
The report was sent to you all by Ms. Billingsley. Did you not receive it?
Not binded, unless it's on my.
Did you send it electronically? I'm sorry, she said she didn't send it. She was out sick that day.
Okay,
We will get it to you.
all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I believe that was the one for the person that was going to come to the meeting, correct?
Yes.
Right, so Ms. Cooper, we'll get that to us, and then, so that you can go, we probably might need to do the small groups again, so we can have a thorough explanation from, the person that was gonna come. I figured that you all would not want to sit here for 30 or 40 minutes tonight. And so, yes, yeah,
And he did-
it'll be coming to you because
did say-
since we're behind anyway, we're trying to catch up, but we want everybody to have the opportunity to get an in-depth understanding.
And Madam Chair, he did say that he would be happy to meet with the board in small groups.
Right,
via Zoom.
yes.
So,
But before we move forward, Ms. Bivens, we did need to set up a time for Ms. Williams for the individual that came from the state, because it was like a workshop or whatever, and it was mandatory. So we do need to set that up so that she can.
yes, ma'am, I'm working on getting some dates from Ms. McLeod to share with Ms. Williams to see when her availability is.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think the next item is the cell phone tower lease. So currently we have a lease with New Singular Wireless PCS LLC for renting space at North Clayton Middle School. Under the current agreement, the district receives $1,750 per month. This agreement will terminate on October 31st of this year if not renewed. The request is to renew the lease with New Singular Wireless PCS LLC for the space located at North Clayton Middle School, with the option to extend the agreement for 3 additional consecutive 5-year periods, which includes a 15% increase on the base rent. The district's revenue will increase from $1,750 per month to $3,500 per month. And upon the execution of the contract, the district will receive a sign-on bonus of $20,000. CCPS legal counsel has reviewed the agreements that were attached to the executive summary. The agreement will provide additional miscellaneous revenue to the school district in excess of $39,000 per year. And the recommendation is approval of the cell phone tower agreement with Crown Castle.
Actually, we do not have a contract with the cell phone tower. We need more information on that because Ms. Baker, you were on the board before when this came. We didn't approve that contract. And so if you all could provide some further information on that, we never approved that contract. We can even go back in the minutes. We didn't. I don't know, especially as, we said before, I believe it says singular, and that was way back when, I guess, cell phones were invented. And we chose not to have that contract because of the science. We were concerned about it being too close to our school, and we declined it. So I'm not sure where that company got that information from. So if you all could give us further information, and there might be something, we may probably pull that from the agenda next week. And now if the board members, it's only 2 or 3 of us, maybe. Mr. Christmas, do you recall, were you on the board when we voted it down? He doesn't remember, so maybe he wasn't even on the board. So now, the rest of the board might decide they want the revenue.
Okay.
But
I'll get with legal to see if they can dig up an old contract somewhere and see, and we'll pull it for next week.
Right, because what I would actually like to see is if they're saying we have a contract, do we have any evidence of money that we've been receiving?
Ms. Billings, yes,
So-
I thought, we've been receiving money.
Well, they've been having it turned on without our permission, so maybe
Right,
we
yeah, we've
might
been
need to
receiving
request that they triple up. They might need to go back and send us a whole lot of money, as much as my cell phone bill is. I live on that end of the county. I think we have been hoodwinked or something. Okay.
Thank you. So the next item is the SPLOST report. Oops, great. Okay. So for this year in July, we received $5,457,280, which is in line with what we received the 2 months prior to that, and it's also in line with what we received in the previous years. So any questions about our SPLOST revenue collections?
Are there any questions? I don't see any.
All right, then next is the purchasing report. Of course, we have report A, which is our consumables. Do you have any questions on those?
Are there any questions, board members? Seeing none.
Okay. So report B is the non-consumable purchases made with a value of $10,000 or more, but less than $50,000. Any questions on
Any
those?
questions? Anything?
Okay. And
Well,
then the,
before you go, I did request some information regarding those book bags that we received. And I received a nice long, I don't know how many pages about the information, but I still don't think I was given the information that I asked for, which was how much money we paid the vendors. And it seems like we selected several vendors, but is it possible that all of the vendors gave us bad book bags? And can we get a refund?
I will have to check about the refund. And I'll work with Ms. Brewer on the quality of the bags. She did send something late this evening, a copy of all of the responses I believe that you had asked for. So I will forward that to you as well, so you can have that. And that will have all the prices on there for each company per book bag.
All right, because I
She
would.
will check with, we'll get her
Yeah.
to check on getting the quality. So what typically happens, the user department will need to, she actually has them fill out a form.
I'm gonna
You bought
show
the
you the
book
book
bag.
bag. Now, I don't know,
they
board
fill out a
members,
form.
we all received book bags. Maybe I just got a bad batch. But this is the book bag. As you can see, anybody that's been in a home economics class knows that a zipper is supposed to have a closure at the bottom of it. This does not. So therefore, I can, as long as I don't let this side, I can zip this up. But this side over here, as you can see, this is open because it's supposed to have a clasp. And I don't know how much money we paid these people. I don't know who you are. I don't usually like to shame people because I get mad when people try to Facebook shame me or something, but I'm gonna shame whoever we got these from. We don't have any containers here can't put my water in it. Last year, we had really nice book bags that had a place for water bottles. The zippers worked. There was a place for, you could put your cell phone in the front, all those types of things. This is really very shoddy workmanship. And it seems that we probably selected people based on the lowest responsive bid, and we need to stop doing that.
I will have purchasing work with the user department, I believe it was federal programs, to look at the vendors. And they could probably tell us which vendor provided the particular bag that you have.
Well, does anyone else have any book bags that are different than this one? Because
we had multiple vendors, so I'm not sure which one that.
well, they must have given our board members, we must have got the ones from the bag vendor.
All right, we'll check, we'll look at it.
Ms. Cooper.
Yes, I just wanted to second. I know the batch that I had for the event I had, same problem. The zipper on the side, it didn't close. It was just the opening part. So I don't know who that vendor is, but we need to find it and not use them again.
I see Miss, come on up.
Good evening. The book bags, are you referencing the book bags that you received as board members? Yes. Those book bags were not purchased with federal funds, but I will work with Dr. Dunn to see who that vendor was that provided those bags.
Well, see, I don't care what kind of funds they were bought with, whether they was federal, medical, or hetero. We got some bad book bags, and I want my money back.
Yes, ma'am. I'll work.
I'm gonna be like these people
We'll work with the
the
vendors.
people who tell me all the time that they are taxpayers. I'm a taxpayer.
Yes, ma'am. We will work with the vendors. Thank you. Thank you.
And then the final report C is non-consumable items with a value of $50,000 or more that require board approval as detailed in the executive summary. Any questions on that report?
Any questions, board members?
Okay.
All right, it looks like that's it.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Bivens. Mr. Joseph.
Good evening once again. You've received the SPLOST construction update for the month of August. There were 2 payments totaling $2.5 million. There were no change orders for this period. Are there any questions for ongoing projects?
Any questions? Mr. Joseph, I just want you to know everyone's getting happy about the demolition over at South Lake. Everybody's happy. They're ready for the convocation center to go up. Ms. Hill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Mr. Joseph, I'm grateful for all the work that you guys are doing. I'm just concerned that we still have that 99% on Morrow High School. And just if you could just share with me, I know it's ongoing, but what does that really look like?
It's again, we're holding the contractor accountable for the punch list item. So we made a commitment to this board as well to our operations staff that we're not going to release the final 5% until each and every one of those items are delivered. So some of the items are just they're waiting on materials, nothing major. But again, I can assure you it's nowhere near 5% of what we're holding, but we will, that's sort of our bite. So we'll continue to hold that 5% until everything's complete.
Yes, I did notice that there was a small dollar amount different from what they asked and what we paid. So I just wanted to say thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Wait a minute, Mr. Joseph. I saw Ms. Baker's light.
I was just going to suggest that we charge them for any time we have to wait. If your doctor's office can charge you for being late to your appointment, I think we should be able to charge them. And that's just my opinion. So.
Noted. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Ms. Albritton.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, other members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith, colleagues, and community members. The Personnel Changes Report summarizes all personnel actions for the period of July 18th through August 13th, 2023. Human Resources updates were submitted to the Board of Education for your review. Since our updates were submitted, the district has begun the leveling process. A cross-functional team representing the divisions of teaching and learning and strategic improvement, business services, and human resources is reviewing enrollment at schools, teacher and paraprofessional allocations, and class sizes. Ultimately, the goal of leveling is to identify instances of overstaffing and reallocate those resources to schools with outstanding staffing needs. We anticipate that this process would have a significant positive impact on remaining vacancies. A formal update will be provided to the Board of Education once the process is completed. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions, board members? I actually have a question. Since we're about to do some leveling, and I know particularly over in my district because the charter school has taken quite a few of our students. We have some students that are on the list, and I probably may get the initials wrong. Let me see if I can what are they, TSI, CSI? Help me, Miss, okay. All right.
CSI, TSI,
Okay,
and
I'm
Promise.
close. Okay, so I'm thinking that while, if we really want to work on trying to improve these test scores, that some of those schools in particular, maybe we might need to consider not trying to have the ratio that we have, that maybe we might need to, for those schools to stay small schools. And we give some more support to those schools, such as maybe some coaches or things. Even when I'm talking about, when we were talking about having these children, if they have time, if we could, let them work through CTA, school-based learning or whatever, or employment, that we could have them to work with those students. Because I know in Atlanta, some of the schools, like, I personally have this proposition that I would like to talk to Dr. Smith and his cabinet about, that I've had that I've tried to do before, such as we have someone put on in the moms and dads the other day about why do they need to take their students, because they're feeling like we're not adequately educating their students in special ed. So a lot of them are taking their children to private schools. I know one year we did that in our family, went to the Bedford school. The Bedford school, the ratio from K through 5 is 1-8. Once they go beyond the 5th grade to, I think from 6 to 9, the ratio is 1-10. I would actually like to see these people mention, why do we have all of these charter? We have, well, not charter. We have choice schools for high performing students, but we don't have schools for students that maybe have an IEP. Personally, I would like to see if we could have a combination of a school so that we don't get in trouble with the least restrictive environment, where maybe we would try something similar to the Bedford School, where if we had a 1-8 ratio, even if we said 1-10, half of the students in the classroom could have an IEP. The other students could be regular ed students who, their skills may vary but that way we don't, we have an inclusive model, and we could do some things with them. But I just think that we would really, it would benefit us if we did have the smaller classes. So maybe if you all could consider maybe those particular schools having those small ratios.
Duly noted, Madam Chair, and we are doing a very limited phase of leveling to consider exactly what you just described.
Thank you. Ms. Cooper.
Hello, question. I know everyone doesn't take the exit exam, because I do see that you have it broken out. But my question is, there were 6 paraprofessionals that resigned. Do we know why? And if it is pay, are we paying at a competitive rate as our surrounding counties?
So we cannot tell if the respondents to the exit survey were the paraprofessionals who left, because the exit survey is completed voluntarily and anonymously. So there's no way, unless they identify themselves as a para in one of the responses to the questions, there is no direct link back. And in terms of pay, I know that the paraprofessional salary has been reviewed as part of the comp studies, but I would allow Ms. Bivens to respond on behalf of compensation. Or she could provide feedback later, or you're saying Ms. Yoshi?
Good afternoon, everyone. Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Dr. Smith, members of the board. Paraprofessionals have been a part of our compensation studies in the past, and so we take a look at them when we take a look at our teachers as well. So we did a compensation study for our teachers and our paras 3 years ago. We have not looked at them since then. So to answer the question, if they're in direct correlation with everyone else, they should be pretty close.
right now.
Dr. Haney?
How often is it done, Ms. Barber? I mean, the compensation?
When we did the study 3 to 4 years ago, that was the first time the study had been completed in several years. And so we have not done a comprehensive study with them since then. But we do look at it on a case-by-case basis. If it's brought to our attention, we do look at it. And that's how I know that we are pretty much in line with other districts. It kind of varies, a little bit, but we're pretty much in line.
And board members, we are constantly looking at our least paid professionals, and we've identified who is in a comparable market rate in the metro area and who's not, and we're looking to phase those in to make certain that we do some catch up. But we have to look at our mid-year budget before we even consider anything like that.
Are there any other questions? All right. Oh, Ms. Hill.
Yes, Madam Chair, just real quick. I know that you indicated that we're unable to tell when they do their exit survey. However, when there is a concern, how do you know where to address it when it's something directly related to the culture of our district as their reason for leaving? How do you address it if we don't know where it came from?
So what I have noticed in review of the data, those that have a significant qualm with the culture of their work location, they normally respond as such. So they will either identify their division or they will include school in the response, not the school's name, but I work at a school. Or if they are associated with a specific department or division, those that are upset, quote unquote, normally make some reference. When I make that notation, it is shared with the division head. And so they're able to get that feedback and try to determine what can be done internally to counteract those concerns.
And also, can you just share with me the process when you receive a resignation? When do they receive their exit survey?
So the resignation is received actually by their direct supervisor. So the direct supervisor then enters it in Munis, and then it comes to HR. And then the actual separation letter is generated from someone on my team.
And what is the turnaround time for that?
So as soon as it pops into as soon as it loads into Munis, we're able to generate that letter, just depending on the amount of separations that are received based on that director's load. So that day or the next day. And so then the QR code to the exit survey is included as a part of the separation letter.
And so you're saying approximately 24 to 48 hours?
Yes. The only variance to that is when there's something missing. So for example, if a teacher were to resign tomorrow but not provide evidence of why they are resigning, we would request additional information to determine if they are going to be released with penalty or without penalty. So in those instances, follow-up may be included. Or if the employee doesn't sign the separation form, we do inquire just to make sure that it's a genuine separation that's being initiated by the employee. So in those types of scenarios, it may not meet that 24 to 48 hour period just because we are soliciting additional information.
Thank you for that clarification. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? All right. I believe that concludes all the staff reports. The next reports are board matters. And the first item is Board Series G. This is the second read. So we will vote at our next meeting. Ms. Cooper.
Madam Chair, I don't know if this is the right time to bring it up with the G policy that I brought up last board meeting in regards to GBD and also GBM. Could we discuss that?
I don't recall that. Can you tell me what they were? I don't.
So GBD was the professional personnel hiring. And then the GBM was the professional personnel transfer.
Madam Chair, I just can offer for clarification, there was discussion about what situations the board should approve a transfer versus where superintendent authority is that we discussed in the public meeting last time.
Do we have anything in writing that, can you?
I have something I can email around to the board if that's okay for you all to think about.
In writing.
And I'll
We can forward it.
just very briefly.
Okay.
The only two aspects, I think the board was in agreement with the superintendent that clarity was needed. And I think the only two items I would say is the provision that details transfers is actually in a policy that deals with hiring. So that's one easy tweak to make sure that the transfer language is actually in the policy about transfers. And then just something clarifying when there's a salary increase, responsibility increase, that would be board approved.
Look, now I know what you mean now. Okay. I got you.
So we can send it, you want me to send it over?
Yes, please. I thought I saw someone else's light. Did someone else?
It was mine. I was just going to say, I remember the discussion, but I thought we were going to get something emailed and I didn't
Right.
remember getting it. So that was what I was going to say.
Yeah, okay, because, all right. All right, the next item is Series M. It's a second read as well. Do we have anything that we want to add? All right, seeing none. The next item is the Alumni Association. Ms. Bowles?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair. Really excited to turn it over to the Alumni Association.
All right. Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith. Some of y'all may recognize me as an employee here with Clayton County Public Schools. However, this evening, I stand before you as an honored graduate of Clayton County Public School System. I'm representing the Clayton County Public Schools Alumni Association as the Vice President. I'm thrilled tonight to turn it over to a few of my co-board members to present, some of the missions, the mission statement and vision that we have for the Alumni Association.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent, board members. My name is Dr. Ray Lundy, and I am a proud graduate of the class of 2002 Lovejoy High School. I'm serving as the incoming treasurer for the newly established Clayton County Public School Alumni Association. And tonight we want to just spend a few minutes talking about the vision, the mission, and the purpose of this organization. Our vision is to build a community of engaged alumni who enrich the lives of our current students and who can bridge the gap between alumni and the current students. So we have a vision to create connections between those students that we're serving, that you all talked about earlier. And we're gonna achieve this vision by committing ourselves to fostering lifelong relationships between our alum, promoting the district's values and traditions, and encouraging alumni to do many things, but of most importance, we want to encourage them to give back. Service is a core part of what we want to do. Volunteerism, philanthropy, those are just parts of the work that we're going to do. And I'm going to turn it over to my fellow board member to talk about a little bit further about the purpose.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Donnie Carrington. I graduated from Lovejoy, but I've been to almost every elementary school in Clayton County, from West Clayton to Fountain to Riverdale, so move around.
Maybe before you get started, you might need to tell us how that happened or afterwards. Have a little wink out.
Well, our purpose is to unite all graduates of Clayton County Public School, cultivate community and foster a sense of belonging, provide a platform for alumni to give back through mentorship, fundraising, and volunteering, support and promote personal and professional development for alumni and students through networking opportunities, workshops, and educational events. We'll also celebrate the achievements and contributions of alumni to their professions and their communities, establish a robust alumni network that can serve as a resource for mentorship, career development, job placement, and business opportunities, strengthening the pride of Clayton County Public Schools among alumni, encouraging them to be visible and brand ambassadors.
And so I think it's important that we talk about just that this is the first of its kind organization in the state of Georgia. I think that's one of the things we're really proud of, and one of the things that has already been acknowledged in the news. So the good work is, the word about the good work that we want to do is getting around. So on July 26th, there was a press release talking about the work that we're hoping to do, and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution highlighted the efforts. And then we joined the Back to School Bash on July 29th. And at that point, we had the pleasure of signing up 200 alum, 200 alum, alumni. So there's great excitement and energy. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that as a board, we are committed to not just looking good and making it all sound good. We're wanting to pull up our sleeves. We really want to give back. It's critically important for all of us. And as I was sitting back there, what came to my spirit, to whom much is given, much is required. And I think each of the people who are part of this founding board, as well as those that we are recruiting, have that same spirit. And I've heard that spirit here tonight as we talked about the students who came forward. That's just what we are interested in doing. And so in addition to collecting almost 200 alum, the names of those folks, we are essentially just excited about just doing more. And so we want to talk a little bit about what membership includes so that any of our fellow alum who are here, we have an opportunity for you to sign up tonight too.
All right. So we'll have stuff like wellness events, fun, of course, opportunities to grow and help grow the community, community service. We have this nice alumni directory. Then we're definitely putting together some networking events, career development resources, alumni news updates, and most of all, community.
So I promised you there'd be an opportunity for folks who are in the room who are also alum. If you would take out your phones, if you would like to sign up and get more information. We also are on social media. So on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, our handle is the same on each of those platforms. So follow us at CCPS Alum. And we look forward to serving with and in partnership with the board.
Thank you guys for having us. And like, the Clayton County Alumni Way, we look to serve.
No, don't leave.
Thank you. Oh, we do have one more slide. Oh, well, we had questions. If folks have questions, yes.
Mr. Straker.
More than a question, I have a comment. Once again, since 2015, this has been the greatest board meeting that I've attended. Colleague Jasmine Bowles, I have to commend you for, pushing this effort forward. I commend you and your colleagues. This is long overdue.
Thank you, Mr. Straker. Ms. Baker.
Okay, having a daughter who is alumni from Lovejoy.
Yeah.
She's currently in Wales, and she's wanting to know what she can do. So,
well, she is welcome. We're gonna make sure.
So your alumni are going to be far-reaching.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. I would like to know if you all could share your information with the board, because we didn't have the information. And since this information, I don't even know how to do I need a piece of paper with a line on it.
Okay.
But Mr. Sykes, what's your high school?
Riverdale High School.
Okay, I'm glad to hear somebody on the north side because I'm feeling a little
Yes,
discrimination here.
yes, Ms. Gorey.
Okay, well, the reason I'm asking because the North Clayton High School Alumni Association, specifically the class of 2013, has also undertaken a similar initiative, and they are actually everything that you're saying that you're going to do, they're going to do as well. As a matter of fact, they just had their homecoming last week, and they have a group. Actually, two of them are Gates Millennium Scholars, and one of them is a Posse Scholarship winner, and they are trying to set up a scholarship fund to give back to North Clayton. And some of them also participated in their homecoming on Saturday. So I would like to know how they can join. And because I know, I'm not gonna say think, I know that there are many of the high schools that would really like to get involved with this. Because actually I've met one little girl that's actually in the band, and she is a pharmacist, and actually they marched in they had homecoming, so they played with their band on Friday, I guess it was Friday night. So great idea, and I really love it. I just, I'm happy to share the information on my end, because like I said, it's this Lovejoy thing. I'm on the north side, and my son, and then he's Riverdale. And, that's one of my schools. So I really want to see you all get this off the ground, because I truly believe in the service. Great idea. And we're looking forward to, future plans as to what you want to do. Because actually I had sent them an idea about trying to get there. We have something called a Hall of Fame at my high school. We're actually celebrating 150 years. In 2 weeks, we were the only all-Black high school in the state of Kentucky. And we have a thriving, because I actually want to make the wall of the Hall of Fame. I don't know who I got to pay, but I want to get in there. So thank you all so much for sharing, and thank you, Ms. Bowles.
Thank you.
Right.
And Madam Chair, in the newly erected arena, we will have what we call the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And
Mhm.
Mr. Joseph and I have been trying to toy with how do we do a selection process, because we have so many phenomenal graduates that have went on to do wonderful things. So now we got an organization that can come up with a selection process.
Right. Mhm. All right.
Thank you, Dr.
Yes, Mr. Straker.
Really quick question. Mr. Joseph, are you part of this alumni? Very good.
Mr. Straker, Mr. Joseph has been asking me relentless about this, so I was very happy that he had the opportunity this evening, so.
Right, so on that QR code, look, I don't understand those, so what's the price to join?
For currently, the QR code is gathering information if you're interested,
Mhm.
and from there, we'll send out the information just based off different prices or different membership opportunities.
Okay, all right, I need to sign my son up too as well. Thank you.
All right,
so
thank
much.
you.
Okay.
Thank you, team.
Thank you, Alumni Board. Thank you.
All right, the legislative updates, that's also Ms. Bowles.
Yes. Also, thank you, Alumni Board, not only for their presentation, but for your patience. What a long night. So thank you. Moving on to our second to last item, which is legislative updates. I'm grateful to our chair and vice chair for not only seeing it fit that we talk about ed legislation tonight, but we'll be doing this every month moving forward, which I think is really important. So I'll keep it brief, but during legislative session, the education updates will probably get a little longer. So right now, I'm just going to summarize with some themes that I want you to know to look out for that have been hot topics either during the last session or upcoming session. Also, if you're wondering why we're at a school board meeting talking about what happens at the State House, everything that we do here is undergirded with rules, laws, and regulations that start there. And so it's really important that we watch what's going on in education in our local Senate and in our local House. but also federally as well. So here's some quick themes that I want to bring to your attention coming out of last session that will carry on. Theme number 1, education funding. It's a really big hot topic, and something that Georgia's been going through is the concept of vouchers. And so that is a funding program, and one of the updates is that there have been no voucher bills that have passed last session, but they'll come back up. And this other funding update is not only cool, but a shout out to one of our very own legislative delegates. Representative Sandra Scott has lifted HB 10, House Bill 10, and this bill is cool. Here's why. HB 10 actually requests that we include what's called basically a poverty supplement into the funding formula. Now, right now, the state Senate is having a study committee to unpack the funding formula, but I do want you all to have HB 10 on your radar, which would say that if you are in a district or a community that has high need students and populations, that funding formula deserves to be adjusted so that those scholars have equitable options. That is, again, HB 10, and shout out to Representative Sandra Scott for doing that. Another hot topic is school safety. As we know, school safety is really important. What is our district without the wellness of our scholars and teachers? So just keep a lookout for school safety bills, which range from arming teachers to bulletproof glass, right? Like the wide spectrum of school safety, but I want you all to know to look out for that this upcoming session. And the last theme that I'll introduce, this isn't everything, but the third theme for tonight, I want you to be mindful of curriculum, divisive concepts, and classroom censorship. I also want you to think about how our neighbors, north and south of us, they all talk. Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Mississippi, south of the Mississippi and south of the Mason-Dixon and east of the Mississippi, right? These folks talk to each other, many times sharing great policies, but sometimes sharing not so great policies. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were some legislative action going on in Georgia, specifically focused on whether or not African-American AP courses should continue to be taught. So look out for classroom censorship, divisive concepts, and curriculum. And again, I'm really excited to continue to lift legislative updates each month, if not in my voice, through some partners who really focus and study this work. So thank you again, colleagues, for allowing this space. I look forward to continuing to keep you updated about everything going on at the Gold Dome in education.
Thank you, Ms. Bowles. And let me ask you if you could share those, if you could email what you just reported to us, because, you know, I have my files, I get a little rusty and I forget. And I'm glad that you mentioned that one about censorship, because if you look at the situation that happened in Cobb County, and when I look at books like Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, that are books that are banned and all those types of things, that is outrageous to me, but that's today's society. And they have the majority at the State House. All right, the next item on the agenda is student and district advisory councils. And Ms. Blackwood, do you have the form? Yes, oh, that's it. Okay, so all of the board members here, we all have advisory councils. And so Ms. Blackwood has uploaded this information to our website. And I believe it looks like we have a QR code there, things that I don't understand, but I think we also have just a plain old Google form as well to fill out. Thank the Lord I'm not still teaching, because if a overhead couldn't do it, I would be fired. So we are actually looking for people to be on our advisory councils, and some of those people some of us, had members last year. They're welcome to join us. And the other thing I have is I have a student advisory council. Now, I don't have anything listed, but I'm putting this idea out here to you, our board members. Since Mr. Straker made the comment that this has been one of the best board meetings that he's had since he's been on the board, I agree with him. And I really love the fact that we had a lot of students come up. We need to be more student focused. So one of the ideas that I was thinking about us doing, and I know several of the other members have mentioned this before, we need student input on everything we do. For example, we're doing these policies tonight, and particularly, I believe it's the J policies that affect our students. So one of the state reps last year even tried to have a bill passed that would mandate having one student being a member of the board as an ex officio officer of the board. Now, I'm in agreement with that, but I think we would have a problem because I think that, just like I'll just pick on the Lovejoy contingent here. We have the Ms. Bowles and we look like the Lovejoy majority. I would be, a little upset myself if I didn't get somebody from the North Clayton, Riverdale, Drew area. So what I am suggesting that we do is that we select a student from each of our high schools to start out with as a representative, and we can meet with them. We have, I think, 12 high schools. And of course, then you say, well, how do we pick that person? I think the easiest way might be to maybe select either the class president, maybe that might be 12th grade, or either the SGA person. Now, before I'm looking back at Dr. Duncan, I can remember when we had those representatives that used to meet here, because I remember Xavier Ross is your person. And I'm trying to think, I can't remember the little boy from North Clayton, but they were a very powerful group. And I think that that's something that we need to look into. So having a student advisory group. I know also that Dr. Smith is working with starting a student advisory group, so we can get with him and his team and see what we can do. So do we have any objections to that? Or are we all right with that or what? Board.
Great idea.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair, no, I like that idea, and I was thinking the same thing.
Right,
We do
because at
need
first
a
I was
student
thinking
voice.
that we could do 9 people, but then I was saying if we did 9, then we exclude, all of the high schools. And I think we need the representation. And then I think we need the, further extended, because I think the thing that I really did like about what Dr. Beasley used to do is he actually used to go pick up students from all of the schools. And you had a variety of the elementary, middle, and the high school. So we can just try to start small and build on it and see what we can do. Okay. So let's go, I believe, let's see. Well, we already did the tribunal members. We discussed that at first. Now, do we have this? This is for action for our next meeting, I believe. All right. How do we look? I need to look at our agenda. Let me see where it is. I'm not sure if it's on here for tonight or if it's, do we vote on it tonight?
I believe it's on here for tonight on the agenda, Madam.
Is it on here for tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm looking at, I'm looking at my e-board. So I think we need to vote tonight, right? Let's look at the agenda. I know, I'm saying, is it on, are we gonna vote tonight or because, okay, I'm not really, so let me go back to the one thing that we do need to vote on. The tribunal members. So you all are looking for because I'm actually ready to pull that one. Okay, so let me just, let's have a motion then to approve the tribunal panel members this evening. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'm willing to pass start the motion, but can we pass the entire consent agenda in one motion?
we're not doing consent tonight.
But we have to do the business agenda, which includes the tribunal and
Yeah,
the international program.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm doing
So
now.
can I make a motion for both of those at this time?
No, that's what I'm about to do.
I thought you just asked for a motion, so I was gonna say so moved that we vote on the tribunal members as well as the international.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
So moved.
I actually was about to, I think, did you talk? I had
Second.
Miss Baker. Yes, Miss Baker.
Second.
Okay, Miss Baker.
Make the motion, so first, second, or just vote, that's all.
Okay, so you're making the motion, Miss Bowles is making the second. Okay, so let's vote to accept okay. Oh, well, Miss Williams isn't here, but she can't vote, but I'll just say that she was voting yes for that, but the vote here is 8-0 for the tribunal members. Are you saying no? You hit?
No, I'm saying yeah.
Okay, because you hit all three buttons. Okay, thank you. All right.
Madam Chair, I've looked over this entire agenda. We just got to do that approval of the proposed board members. Okay, let me.
No, we need to do I think we,
I thought that was
think we have the
combined, right?
What?
Was that a combined motion for the?
No.
No?
No.
Yes, it was a combined motion for.
No, because she made the motion here. She made the motion. You seconded. That's what I was doing when you. We're gonna do them individually. The next motion is for the international travel approval. Ms. Baker,
So moved.
thank you. I need a second.
I second the motion, Madam
Okay,
Chair.
it's been moved in second for for the approval of the international travel approval. Okay, vote please. I'm sorry, Ms. Bowles. All right. It is a unanimous vote. All right. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the proposed agenda for our next meeting. That's what I was trying to look at to see if we needed to take anything off. We do need to take one thing off of the agenda. Or actually, I'll just leave it on there. We might remove it. The cell phone. What do you think? Just leave it and remove it if necessary? Okay, we'll just, so I need a motion for the approval of the proposed board meeting agenda for September the 5th, please. Ms. Baker?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Christmas. All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. We accept the proposed agenda for September 5th. Please vote. Ms. Bowles?
She's.
Oh, okay, well, that's fine. 7 in favor, thank you. I believe we covered everything.
That's absolutely everything.
All right,
Madam
we
Chair.
are adjourned.